Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I want to discuss whether the UK housing market will crash in 2023. I'm going to give you 10 reasons why I think this might well happen. I'll give you some mitigating factors and my conclusion at the end. So here are the 10 reasons why I think property prices may well crash in 2023. And number one is the very high prices. Now, property prices in the UK have been rising a hell of a lot over a number of years. And according to the Office for National Statistics in the UK, prices reached an average of £296,000 in August 2022, and that's a record. And when you consider in March 2009, prices were on average around 154,000. This is a very significant increase, especially when you take into consideration inflation has been quite low in this period. So cumulative inflation in this period has been around 43 to 45%. But prices have nearly doubled. So even in normal times, without the problems we're having, this would say that we really are in a bubble. Number two, also very important, is the price to earnings ratio, which has also reached a record level of 7 across the UK. Now, this of course does vary by area, and in London it's as high as 13. In Edinburgh it's around 8, in Manchester 7, and in Aberdeen it is lower at around 5. But nevertheless, on average, really people are having to earn 7 times their salary for the average property, and that really is expensive. Now, if we take the median in London, we really are looking at a bubble here, because according to Numbeo, this has reached 17. Now, the median obviously is higher because London salaries are skewed by high earners in the city. Number three, there has been lower demand lately, and the demand actually for buying property in the UK has fallen quite a bit, in particular in London, where demand has fallen by 40%, in the West Midlands by 38%, in the North East by 20%, and Scotland 24%. And all these figures are according to Forbes magazine. But we're already seeing a lower demand, and lower demand does mean really property could be on its way down as well. Number four, of course, higher inflation. Inflation in the UK is above 10%, which obviously is making life more expensive, and hence we are having what is called a cost of living crisis in the United Kingdom. Number five, a fall in real wage growth. So inflation, as I've said, is currently higher than wage growth, which means actually what you are seeing in the UK is a fall in the standard of living, and this is bound to have an effect on property prices. Number six, interest rates are going up, and it is expected in 2023 interest rates will reach 5%, perhaps at the very least reach 5%, and with this borrowing costs will go up, and this is bound to depress the property market in the UK. And bear in mind too, many people will come off fixed interest rates in the next year or so and pay these higher rates. And one thing I will say about the UK, most people buy with quite large mortgages, so this is bound to have an effect on property prices. Number seven, higher taxes. Now, UK taxes, which are already high by historical standards, are set to increase further. I'll give one such example, which is corporation tax, which will rise from 19% to 25% next April. And the new government has already indicated that other taxes will rise for individuals as well. And again, this means less money in the pocket of those people trying to get on the property ladder, and also for those already on the property ladder, they might be squeezed with their mortgages, and who knows, we might see even more defaults. Number eight, another problem, obviously we are looking at a potential recession in the country of the United Kingdom. The Bank of England has warned that the UK could face its longest recession in 100 years, and the UK already has had very weak growth over the last 10 years, and London and Northern Ireland are the only two areas of the UK that have recovered from the pandemic. So they are at pre-pandemic levels, where the rest of the country has still to recover. So even the economic outlook going forward is not very good either. And number 9, buy to let is becoming less attractive in the UK. Now, with changes to mortgage relief, a surcharge on stamp duty, and more tenant rights, particularly in Scotland, as I've said, buy to let is becoming increasingly less attractive, and this may also have an effect on the property market going forward. And finally, number 10, we've also got to look at political factors, the war in the Ukraine, the continuing war in the Ukraine, also the continuing problems that the UK is having with Brexit, and a potential trade war with the European Union over the Northern Ireland Protocol. And this could hit the housing market even further. So, I've given you 10 reasons why I think the UK market might well suffer a heavy correction next year. But let's have a look at potentially some mitigating factors. Now, the first one is, and this is a perennial problem of the UK, is the lack of housing, which might just prevent a crash. There are still not enough houses being built to meet demand in the UK, and this may potentially cushion any crash. Number 2, we did have a reduction in stamp duty, so there's going to be less stamp duty payable, and this might help a little bit. And who knows, 2023, hopefully we'll see the end of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and this will help too. And if there's no trade war with the EU, and perhaps improving relations with the EU, this may also prevent a serious house market crash. So what's the conclusion? Well, I think I've seen many estimates of prices going down by as much as 30%. I even saw one, I think, online, a couple, actually two online, which predicted house prices in the UK may fall by as much as 40%. Quite honestly, I do not believe this is going to happen. I still think the lack of housing being built will help cushion any potential crash. I think if there is a correction, it might be 10 to 15% in 2023. However, even that is one hell of a drop when you consider how inflation is very high as well. And I think certain areas will be affected more than others. So which areas might be affected? I think obviously London could feel the effects of it a little bit more, because it's very, very expensive to buy property in London. It's all very, very, very stretched. I think potentially Edinburgh could suffer a little bit of a correction as well. But I think the rest of the country will see some drop, maybe 5 to 10%, and maybe higher drops in London. But one never knows. The property market in the UK is quite unpredictable. You just never know what's going to happen next year. But if you want to buy property in the UK, I would definitely wait. It's not the time to get in. Please wait at least another year or two before you consider buying property in the UK. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts. Do you think there's going to be a crash in 2023? And if so, how much will house prices crash in the UK? Or if you believe there won't be a crash at all and prices might even stay the same, please do comment below. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I shall see you very soon on the next video.